Hey, I'm Woody LaBounty from San Francisco Heritage. All through October 2020, we're focused on the Marina District. It's Marina Month. Today, we're going to take a quick look along the Chestnut Street commercial corridor. A warning, you might get a sore neck looking up at all the great architectural details. This is part of our Heritage in the Neighborhoods program. In 2020, we focused on 3 San Francisco neighborhoods: the Excelsior in March, the Parkside in July, and, here in October, the Marina District. Go to sfheritage.org for more information. In previous videos, we've seen how new construction on the cleared site of the 1915 Panama Pacific Exposition site didn't begin until the 1920s. But the fair site stopped at Chestnut Street, and so on the south side of that street were buildings that predated the exposition. There were small hotels, groceries, bars, and this pharmacy on the corner of Pierce Street. It's still there today. The building was actually constructed shortly after the 1906 earthquake and then was given a stucco renovation in the 1920s. The city had the F-line streetcar running down Chestnut Street, making it a natural fit as a commercial corridor. But at first, zoning required the north side of Chestnut Street, the old fairgrounds, to be strictly residential. You can see in this photo the empty lots on the right side there. So, flats and apartment buildings are the first structures that go up on the north side of Chestnut, like this one on the northwest corner of Chestnut and Scott. When zoning was changed in the late 1920s, not without some neighborhood outcry, the door opened for adaptation of these buildings that had already been built to commercial use, and for a string of new beautiful Art Deco storefronts to be constructed. This great foursome here stands on Chestnut, where Steiner Street dead ends into it. They're all built between 1931 and 1933. Let's take a closer look at some of these upper registers. Art Deco design brings to mind geometric shapes and lines, and industrially inspired zigzags, angles, but there's also a lot of natural influences that come out when you look at the details. Can you see the sunflowers hidden below those stylized diamond-shaped flowers at the top? The facade of 2080 Chestnut on the left here, behind the light pole where the coffee shop is, it has more strict geometry that we expect from Art Deco, with some terrific terracotta cladding. But architects Hyman and Appleton did give a nod to some natural forms in the curling flourishes of those screens on the windows there. A block to the west is a very similar building by architect Hugh Kirk. Let's take a closer look. Some of the windows are closed up, but those decorative grills still remain. We even find some animal life. If we turned around from that great group on Chestnut and Steiner, the neighborhood institution Izzy's Steaks and Chops has some eagles incised on the upper corners of its building. And striking designs can be very simple. The twin suns that once shone above Ratto Hardware and See's Candy now brighten Starbucks and Sunglass Hut. Some of these 1930s commercial blocks have survived remarkably intact. Their ground floors are still articulated with individual storefront entries. They have jewel box display windows and the transoms above, and they're all capped by this remarkable parapet frieze. A conscientious paint scheme makes it pop, but as a frieze with depth, just some angled light really brings it to life. So cool. So it's not just preserving these elements, but interpreting them that's the trick. Above legacy business Marina Super, we have some stalked floral panels that, If you look to the east, they just disappear as we move along the building. For the most part, we live in a shades of gray era in this city. More color, I say. Chestnut has not just one neighborhood theater, but two. The Presidio opened in 1937 with the smooth, streamlined look of its time. Originally, it was called El Presidio. Its name was shortened in the early 1950s. The Marina Theater opened in 1928 with a more classical period revival look as part of this larger building complex that ran all the way to the corner of Steiner Street. Here's that same view in 1957. Let's zoom in to see the types of businesses that Chestnut had at the time. Let's see, we got a clothing store in the corner, a butcher, shoe repair, a bar, and a camera store. Back on the north side of Chestnut, a decade earlier, we see, let's see, two dry cleaners, a Chinese restaurant, two newsstand/cigar stores, and two bars. Some things are different, some things are the same today. And here's another great commercial building on the right that we still have with us. 2250 Chestnut has it all going on, especially on the upper floor. We have windows with diamond mullions, terracotta tiles running up to project above the roof line in those little stepped pyramids. A course of pierced panels along the top. Forget gray, we have some real color here. Just a terrific building to wrap this video up. Get out to Chestnut Street and see for yourself and do some shopping to help the merchants, have a meal, help out the restaurants. Just when you think we have Marina architecture all figured out, next week's video, we will go modern and look at some preservation project ideas for this great neighborhood going forward. Learn more, watch some of the other videos, read about the Marina District, all at sfheritage.org/Marina. I'm Woody LaBounty, and I'll see you again next week.